Hello, my name is Kelly Vess, and I am a speech-language pathologist. What I want to share with you today is something known as multimodal cueing. In multimodal cueing, the cues I'm going to show you today is using your body and space so that children can more easily perceive and produce sound. I've used this approach with preschoolers in improving speech production, language, and literacy skills. I'm going to share with you today the cues that I have used with preschoolers. And the preschoolers I've worked with have been of diverse levels of severity, with children who have extreme impairment in communication skills, to children with very mild impairment in communication skills, and also with diverse populations. So I've used this approach effectively with children with cognitive impairments, children with speech and language impairments, children with autism, children with syndromes, and children with simply mild articulation impairment. The cues I'm going to show you are cues that I've developed over the last 10 years in researching with the local university graduate students. Each graduate student that I've worked with, and I've worked with perhaps over 50 and I've done research with, have all been effective and have all had their own multimodal cueing unique to themselves. So I shared with them my multimodal cueing, but I've encouraged them to create their own that is natural and meaningful for them. Because if you don't buy into the gestures you're using, the children won't either. So let me show you the cues that I use, and it's my hope that you can use those cues and maybe change them and make them better based on your experience and based on your own child. These cues I do differently depending on the child. Some children are hypersensitive, and with children that are hypersensitive, I might pull back and not be so dramatic and so over the top in the cueing, and I might use a little bit less eye contact. With children that are hyposensitive, on the other hand, I'm much louder and I'm much more in their face, not in their face, but I'm much bigger with the cues, and that helps them register. So also, you have to consider the child's attention. Some children have a very short attention span, and with those children, I have to move at a quicker pace to maintain their attention. With children that have a better attention span, I go as slowly as possible to give them time to perceive the sound and to join me in producing the sound. So let me show you the cues that I use. I'm going to go from the alphabet, from letters A to Z. Feel free to use any of these cues with your child and to change these cues. And if you could come up with other cues that are more natural to you or that you think conveys the message better to your child. Okay, I'm going to start with the letter A. The long A, I do this. And I have to pull back the camera so you can see. A. With the short A, I do this. A. It's just A. With the B, I do this. Ba. Ba. With the C, if it's a hard C, I have like a horse bit that I make with my finger. And I go, ka, ka. If it's a soft C, like the S sound, I make a cobra snake, in which I go, s. For the letter D, I do this. Da. I'm not touching the face, I'm just approximating it till the irregular ridge. Da. With the E sound, the long E, I do this. I make two E's with my hand. E. Do you see it again? E. With the short E, I just do this. With the F, I do this. I see the letter E first, like the letter to tuck the lip under. So watch me. I say For the letter G, I do the horse bit again. G. 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 For the letter H, I do this. For the letter I do this. this. For the long I make two eyes with my pinkies, and I do this. I. For the short I do this. It. For the J sound, for the soft J, I do this, like the word judge. J, 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 j. Okay. For the K sound, once again the hoarse bit comes out. Ka, ka, ka. For the L sound, I make two L's with my fingers and I do this. Ooh. Ooh. For the M sound, I do this. For the N sound, I do this. No. So I'm not touching my nose, I'm just approximating. No. For the O sound, I do this, the long O. Oh. For the short O, I do this. Ah. Ah. For the P sound, I do this. For the Q sound, I do this, the QU, I do the K with the W. Ooh. For the QU. Ooh. Okay, for the R sound, I do this. For the S sound, I do this, my cobra sneak again. For the T sound, I do this. Just like the D, right near the movement. Okay. For the U sound, I do this. For the for the large U, I do this. The tense U, the ooh. For the short U, I do this. Up, 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 up. For the U in a word such as unicorn, I do this. Ew. Ew. Okay. Now going to the V sound. For the V sound, I do this. I make a V with my letters, my fingers, and I do this. I put that E in front of it to get the lip to tuck under. Okay. For the W sound, I do this. Wah, 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 wah. For the X sound, it's KS actually, so I do the horse bit. X is k, s, k, s. For the Y sound, I do this. Yeah. Yeah. For the Z sound, I do this. For the Z sound, I do the bumblebees. Zzz, bumblebees. Zzz. And a lot of the children will do S, it's just not loud enough. So I'll make it louder. I'll say louder bumblebees. Zzz. So those are the letters A through Z. I hope that's very helpful for you. Those are the cues that I've used effectively. I found that these cues not only help children speak more clearly, but make greater progress across speech sound disorders. I've researched all the speech sound disorders practically: inconsistent speech sound disorder, apraxia of speech, dysarthria, phonological disorders, and articulation impairment. All of these areas, these cues help these preschoolers. So if you're working with a child, if you have a child with speech sound disorders, I encourage you to add the cues. The cues are going to make it more salient how to produce the sound correctly. Also, I use this with literacy, these cues. So if you're working with a child with literacy, as you see on Kelly Vess, slp.com, the beginning and the ending sound, well, you're this way, beginning and the ending sound cue has been really effective. And we use these very same cues that I've shown you just now when it comes to literacy. And lastly, we've used these cues with language. So if a child doesn't remember a word, is having word retrieval difficulties, we don't have to verbally give them the word, we can visually give it, and they can take a more active role in the learning process. So for instance, when I'm having a child to describe a story or to tell me how to do something. So suppose the story is how to deliver the mail. I help the child out by cueing it. I'd say, first, and I would help the child, if the child doesn't remember climb into the car to tell a verb, I'll say, climb. And the child's like, oh, climb into the car, okay? And then I might say, then, and the child forgot the verb steer. So I might say, and the child's, steer the car, steer the steering wheel. And then the next word would be like, next. I might cue next by doing the N sound and say next. And then I'll have the child, maybe the child's not remembering the verb to collect the mail. So I might say, and the child's like, oh, okay, collect the mail. And then we would say, lastly, you see how the sounds help the child cue and take an active role, and I don't have to give them the verbal, they can do it themselves. So then I would say, lastly, and then maybe the word is deliver, and I'd say, and the child's, oh, the verb is deliver the mail. So what we're doing with this is I'm giving these visual cues in which I don't have to tell the child what to say, and the child is more actively involved in word retrieval, coming up with the verbs themselves, because verbal models can be very difficult to fade. So it's very nice having these cues for that purpose.